Welcome to Astrology 101 with the Ditzy Chicks, Jamie and Mary.
I'm Jamie,
I'm Mary.
in case you didn't know,
I know. In case you didn't listen to Monday's episode.
or any of our other episodes.
I know.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if our voices sound similar to people. Like, I want people to
They
be able to
shouldn't.
know that, know which one of us is talking.
I think you have a more feminine voice than I do.
Oh.
I definitely don't. I mean, obviously, I have a feminine voice, but
Yeah.
yours is more feminine than mine is. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Like, I have a deeper voice.
Yeah. You do, like, your
I
voice...
sound like a smoker. I'm kidding.
This is Estelle.
My
Joey
name...
Tribbiani. It's Estelle.
My name is Brenda, and I've been smoking since I was 4 years old. I do 32 packs in one day. Chain smoker. My husband divorced me 2 times because I tried to give our kids cigarettes. He was just teething.
Speaking of cigarettes, the other day, I did not start smoking.
I would hope not. I'd kick your butt.
But we were here, and I said, "Hey Mary, do you smell cigarette smoke?" And it was like old cigarette smoke, like not the stuff that you smell that's currently in the air, but the shit that's been sitting on walls and furniture for 20 years. That's what it smelled like. And we actually have both of my grandmas here with us. We have the one, she's in her urn, and then we have part of the other one in a smaller urn.
Part of her, it's just like her arm, like half of her arm.
It's her last
stuffed
cigarette
inside the arm, stuffed inside the urn, not as ashes. It's just a whole, like, mummified arm stuffed inside. I'm sorry, that's really graphic.
Getting morbid over here.
Trigger warning.
Morbid with Mary. Hi, I'm Mary. Let's get morbid.
God, speaking of morbid stuff, I really love that lady on TikTok.
The Morbid Minute.
No, the Laura the Mortician.
Yeah,
I think
she's
is that what
the Morbid Minute?
Oh, I love her so much.
I know.
I love
she
that.
has so many good tips on how to not kill yourself all the time.
I just don't understand the people that are like, you're sucking the joy out of everything. It's like, I would rather my kids be safe than deceased.
Well, it's not that she's not telling you what to do. She's telling you what's safe or not.
Yeah.
So at least you know when you decide to do that crazy adrenaline thing, hey, this might kill you.
Yeah.
And you should know.
She tells you how to do stuff safely too. She's not telling you just to not do stuff. She's saying, this is going to kill you. Here's how you can do it safely.
Okay, getting into astrology.
Right now, Mercury's in retrograde.
Mercury's in retrograde in Virgo. The sun is in Virgo. Venus is in Leo.
Excuse me.
The moon on when this episode airs will be a new moon in Virgo. We got 3 things in Virgo right now.
Jesus Christ.
Mars is in Libra. Jupiter is in Taurus in retrograde until December, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Saturn is in retrograde in Pisces. Uranus is retrograde Taurus. Neptune is retrograde Pisces.
Oh my God. I forgot that Saturn was in Pisces.
Oh yeah, Neptune is in retrograde in Pisces. My dreams have been fucking off the wall lately.
Okay.
All of them. Like and I know Neptune's been in Pisces for a while.
Yeah.
But over the last 2 weeks, I'm very much a dream person. I'm a Cancer, but I'm the Pisces decan of Cancer. So I'm in the last 10 degrees of Cancer, which is the Pisces decan. And I've always been so into what my dreams mean. And I remember a lot of them. Randomly, I'll remember a dream that I had 15 years ago. I remember
me too.
A lot of them. Really?
I relate.
You have big 12th house energy too.
Yeah.
With Cancer in it.
I remember a lot of my dreams, but I do very much so believe that your dreams have meanings.
Oh, yeah,
most
for sure.
of your dreams have meaning. Some of your dreams are just like, some of my dreams specifically are influenced by TV shows that I watch, video games that I play, stuff like that. It's just, but most of them have some kind of meaning, whether they're internal or external. Yeah. I remember that I had a dream I don't remember what it was about, but I had a dream that at my grandparents' old house, I was walking around the front yard and your family, like you and
Mm-hmm.
Dylan, mom and dad, had bought their house and my grandparents had bought this house. So you did like a house swap and your family was walking around the front yard doing a bunch of yard work and I was video recording on my phone and I come across mom and I said, say hi. And she goes, hi. And didn't say a word the rest of the time. And then I go to the more towards the road because there was it's like a up on a hill. So I went down the hill towards the road and I was looking out over the house and the house is actually in the middle of the woods and it's just woods for miles and miles. But in the dream, the woods had been chopped down and it was all dirt and construction for a city. And I woke up. And
that's horrifying.
I was telling my grandma about it and she goes, it sounds like there's a lot of change coming your way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started having issues with my dad again. Yeah.
Ooh, so. Look at that. Some of your stability got chopped down.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like
I didn't connect those. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, to me, trees are always a stable thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or they represent stability for me. And I think a lot of people too.
Yeah.
So
roots.
That's how I look at those.
Roots and
roots. Oh, family a lot of the time. Tree of life.
Oh my God. Roots and family. My dad.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, moving on. You got some Mary lore.
Mary lore.
That's what my friends call it when we give each other background. You got some Mary lore.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's a fun way of trauma dumping without feeling bad about it.
We also have Pluto retrograde Capricorn, which anyone has seen the effects of Pluto in Capricorn. It's just exposing companies of their bullshit. Like exposing capitalism, Capricorn, corporate. I mean, we're in the United States of America. If anyone's outside the United States and hearing or seeing glimpses of what's happening in our country, a lot of our corporations are getting their filth exposed. A lot of regular people are looking into what's really running our country, and apparently it's just two companies.
Those TikToks of that guy who goes through grocery aisles and he like starts blocking everything off by what
color
stocks companies owns those other companies. Yeah, I've seen those. Those are crazy.
Somebody needs to protect him because I'm afraid that one day he's gonna
commit sewer slide, quote unquote.
Yeah, he needs to be protected for sure.
Do a Jeffrey Epstein, if you will.
Oh yeah. So stuff like that is definitely Pluto and Capricorn retrograding. There's a lot of just chaos. Absolute chaos. There's chaos.
Is Pluto still in retrograde?
Pluto's in retrograde right now.
That makes sense for my work life then.
Wherever Capricorn is in your chart is whatever house is in your chart, that's where it's going to affect. The North Node moved into Aries, I think in June. If I remember right, mine and Mary's brains are both applesauce right now. This summer has been absolutely insane. So many things. So bear with us.
I'm exhausted.
We're trying so hard to stay on track. And then Chiron is retrograde in Aries. Chiron doesn't get talked about as much as what it should because it's not a big planet, but it's definitely where your wound is. So wherever Chiron is in your chart for you, that's kind of where you feel a little wounded. When the North Node went into Aries, there was definitely a lot more, combativeness to people. People were easily touched and would get their feathers ruffled a lot. And I feel like it's still a thing. The North Node is where the direction your soul is supposed to go in.
Yeah.
So when you're born, wherever the North Node is, that's the direction. That is the direction of your entire life in this lifetime. So any babies born over the summer, they would have their North Node in Aries, meaning that their south node is the sign exact opposite, which is Libra. So a lot of their life, and this is very sad, but it's just a part of growing up, we tend to feel so comforted in our south node sign to the point where it kind of keeps us from growing. And we have to find the balance of when to leave our comfort zone in order to grow in the direction of our north node. It's very hard, and it's hard for everybody because it's two opposites. So for the people that have their south node in Libra and their north node in Aries, the south node Libra people have been so conditioned to be people pleasers and to find the balance with everyone around them because that's where their comfort was. That's what they did in a past life. But the issue with that is the north node in Aries people have to learn how to put themselves first. And a lot of times they don't do that for at least half of their life. And I have a good example, and it is my dad. He is a south node Libra and a north node Aries. I thought this was like, this blew my mind because I've always known my dad to be very, let's do this for everybody. Let's fix this for everybody.
Yeah.
And I find it very, there's no coincidences. So I find it very peculiar and just like a, you don't say type thing that his north node is in Aries when my mom passed away, and now he has to learn how to live for himself.
Yeah. That is very interesting.
Very weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I lied to you earlier when I said I didn't pull my dad's chart. I fucking did.
I was
and
gonna
I just
say,
forgot.
you're like, my dad has a north, and I'm like, bitch, you said you didn't even look at it.
No,
A-hole.
I just remembered. I'm like, no, I did do that. It was in the wee hours of the morning. Yeah. So a lot of times
you probably didn't like analyze it as much as you did mom's.
I didn't. And I didn't even analyze mom's very well because I got so frustrated with the fact that I couldn't see the houses.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I wanted to see the houses because I want to know where me and my brother are at in her chart. Like, I want to see the kid. You know what I mean? So that has a big influence. But so, yeah, my dad is one of those. And now, of course, my dad is a person I'm just going to study for a while because it's very apparent. And what's so funny is that my husband is the exact opposite. He is a south node in Aries and a north node in Libra. When you look at south node Aries people, they are very much, I'm for myself and I'm for no one else. And then growing up and growing into who they are, they have to find the balance of how do I do this for myself, but also
other people.
For other people.
Yeah.
So North Node and Libra people are, okay, who am I with you? Who am I with other people now? Because that's kind of who I have to be now. Versus North Node in Aries, like my dad, it's who am I without you?
Yeah. Okay.
So my dad is on like a journey now without my mom of self-discovery, which he couldn't do before.
He's really struggling with it too.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about the nodes and kind of, you know, both sides of where the North Node currently is. So if you have a child that has North Node in Aries or Libra, there's a little tidbit about how you can help them help themselves.
My cousin has a North Node in Aries.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, then this will definitely help because is your cousin very much a people pleaser? Yeah.
She's learning though. She's learning the hard way, but she's getting there. She's a lot younger than me too. She's a senior this year in high school.
Oh, I know what cousin you're talking about then. So there's something about the nodes for everybody. So we're all living in the Aries North Node right now. A lot of people can get turned off by Aries energy because
sometimes it's
much
overwhelming.
And it's very much a selfish energy, but regardless of what your sign is, and regardless of what your sign is or the sun signs you tend to get along with, everyone needs to embody the positives of every sign.
We don't do space racism here.
Oh no, fuck that.
Fuck the space racism. No zodiac sign is inherently better or worse than any of the other zodiac signs, because every sign has their perks
Mm-hmm.
and every sign has their flaws.
Yeah.
We are not here to be like, oh my God, I'm a Sagittarius and Sagittarians are the best and everybody should be friends
Yeah.
with a Sagittarius because we're so awesome. Like, no.
Well, and not everyone's going to get along
No.
either. Like, you have to be smart enough to realize you're not always going to get along with every sign, and that's fine.
Yep.
But other people can get along with those people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very arrogant and naive thought to believe that some signs are just bad signs.
Yeah.
It's just like tarot. There's no bad card. It's just a
No.
card that has a meaning.
But a lot of it is how you perceive it.
Yeah.
It's all about you, and that's fine, but you cannot make those snap judgments for other people.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not even just about your sun sign, it's about the rest of your chart and the rest of the other person's chart too, and how well you
Yeah.
mesh together.
And it's not for you to influence anybody on what
Mhm.
signs are good. Like, I see all the time people being like, "Oh, I'm starting to talk to this person," and somebody will be like, "Oh, don't talk to them. They're terrible because they're a
They're a
Scorpio."
Gemini.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not it. There's good and bad people no matter what signs they are.
A lot of it though is also self-awareness, like how
Yeah.
self-aware that person is and what they're doing to actively better themselves, if that makes any sense.
100% I can get
Being
along with.
evolving in their zodiac
Yeah.
sign instead of staying in their unevolved
Yep.
self. Yeah.
There's so much growth involved in astrology. Like, if somebody is self-aware, I can get along with them no matter what sign they are.
Mm-hmm.
100%. If they are not thinking with their ego, which is what your sun sign is, it is your ego 100%. If you're not acting and thinking with your ego, I can get along with you no matter what sign you are.
Which could be hard to do based on your rising sign too.
Yep. And a
Like,
lot of people confuse their sun sign with how they are interacting in the world because of their rising sign.
right.
And I see that all over. Like, people will be like, "Oh, well, I do this, so this is a Cancer thing." It's like, no,
No.
that is a Gemini thing because you're a Gemini rising, and those are not Cancer traits.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you do them and you're a Cancer does not mean that that's a Cancer trait.
Right.
Everyone talks about retrogrades all the time and how they're scary and how
No.
everyone breaks, everything's chaotic. But retrogrades are there to tell you, hey, you need to fucking break in this area. And you need to reel it in, bring it back, bring yourself to center, and work on things in this area that need to be worked on.
Yeah.
And a lot of people find that it ruins their lives a little bit, like the retrogrades, because they're going against what they should be doing.
Yeah.
So, for
Like
instance,
us.
yeah, Mercury retrograde, that's a lot of not being able to drive, losing keys, cars breaking down. It's because you're not doing maintenance in that area of your life.
Yeah.
You're not doing maintenance on the communication, the traveling. You need to also do maintenance all the time. And I know that's hard because a lot of people don't have the money to maintenance their vehicles
Or the
every fucking
time.
month.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have the money to maintenance your phone all the time or even get insurance on your phones.
Yeah, we got insurance on this one.
Yep.
And
And
Dylan got me a case and a screen protector for it too. It's going to be here tomorrow. My phone broke.
yeah.
Like 20 of our things broke in the house in the past 2 weeks.
Yep.
Literally we had a giant storm where tornadoes went through. And 2 days before that storm hit is when Mercury went into retrograde and
Cut the power.
Like a huge area of where we are lost power for like 4 days. We didn't have power for 4 days. The day after we got the power back, our car broke. The day after we got power back, the engine to our car started misfiring. So Dylan tried to replace the spark plugs and it's still misfiring and we don't know really what's causing it. And then Dad's phone broke, the fridge broke, my phone broke, or my phone got dipped into the toilet by just the charger port. So it's been a hell of a ride for us.
That
we're slowly replacing things. The only thing left we have to fix is the car. But
which is a big thing. It's a car.
We're just hoping it's not as big of a problem as we might think it is. Because Dylan was basically saying, like, there's 2 things that could be wrong with it. One thing is an easy fix. The other thing, they have to take the engine out of the car again.
Yeah.
So we have to take it to the local mechanic just so
Who's a really great guy.
I almost had a internship with him.
Mhm.
I almost worked for him.
Oh,
I just
I think I
never
remember that.
I never got my permit to like my
Oh,
learner's permit for automotive stuff.
yeah.
I never got that done. Because my senior year I realized that working on cars wasn't something I wanted to do career wise. It was more like
Yeah.
of a hobby thing.
Yeah.
Um, which sucks because I wish I would have, because I did that because I was trying to make a smarter career choice, and I was like, I'm going to be able to make more stable money if I'm working on cars.
Mhm.
But that's not where my heart was.
Yeah.
I've always been a performer. I've always
Yeah.
been music and singing and very artistic, not like drawing artistic, like word artistic. I'm a writer.
Yeah.
And
Same.
I really really do wish that I would have done the music bit of
Yeah.
the whatever, because they literally taught you how to record and like all of that stuff. I
Yeah.
really wish I would have done that. But also a piece of me is like, well, if I would have done the music classes,
Mhm.
would I have ended up dating Dylan?
Right.
Because both Dylan and I did automotive tech.
Mhm.
Um and that was something that we had in common
Yeah.
that we initially started talking about.
Mhm.
Who knows? I like to
It's
think we
weird
would have
when
ended
you.
up together regardless, because
It would have taken you longer though.
our paths did line up, or do line up very well to each other.
Yeah.
And we want these same things, and we are very very similar people wise.
Mhm.
um I am forever grateful that we were introduced to each other when we were introduced to each other,
Yeah.
because of where I was in life. Even my mom and my dad's stepmom
Mhm.
has voiced to me that they are very glad that Dylan came into my life when he did,
Yeah.
because we don't know what kind of person I would be now,
Yeah.
because of how, and I was talking to my grandma about that this morning,
Mhm.
about how when my dad left my mom, how hard I was taking it, because I didn't have enough time to process any of it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I told her this morning, I feel like my parents were able to move on from each other a little easier because they were having issues for so long.
Mhm.
But my brother and I, they hid the issues. So I didn't know they were having problems. I thought they were fine.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, my parents aren't together anymore. And then a couple months later, they're both dating different people. And I'm
Yeah.
16
Yeah.
thinking, what the fuck is happening here?
Mhm.
So that was rough.
Yeah.
More Larry.
More
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 Mary
Larry
lore.
Moore.
Yeah.
Larry Moore.
More Mary lore for you. But anyways.
Yeah.
And it's just
It's like
honestly
a long
like
road.
going back to see like where our paths line up. It's, I like to look at our zodiac charts too,
Yeah.
and seeing where we mesh together well in our zodiac charts.
Mhm.
Did you get my screenshot of our wedding chart that I sent you? I texted it to you like a month ago, maybe. No,
I don't think
not
I
a
have it
month
now.
ago.
What else did I want to talk about? Oh, the the big guy moved to retrograde recently. The big guy meaning Jupiter. Big boy.
I don't know.
Big boy
That didn't.
Jupiter.
I was like, who the fuck is the big guy? Who are you talking
The
about?
big guy.
And I can't believe it took me that long to figure out you were talking about Jupiter. It's the biggest planet,
Besides
and it
the
rules
sun.
me.
Yeah.
Literally.
You're a Jupiterian. Well, I mean, yeah. It's your sun sign. You're interesting, Mary. You're interesting to
My
me.
birth chart baffles me every time I look at it. And I feel like that's a lot of the reason why growing up I had so much conflict within myself,
Yeah.
because I have a lot of contradicting placements in my birth chart.
Yeah.
I'm a
Well,
wonder.
your
I'm unique.
Jupiter rules your sun sign of Sagittarius, but your chart ruler is the sun. So the sun just like amplifies everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know whose chart baffles me though? And it actually makes me so mad. Ridiculously mad. I get so upset when I read it.
Your
It's my
husband.
fucking husband's chart.
I remember you were telling me
cannot
about it.
stand
You
it.
can't crack that motherfucker's code.
No, because he has okay. So he has his moon and his Jupiter is in Sagittarius.
Okay.
So very good.
Very lucky energy.
Yes. With the moon, like those are good
Mm-hmm.
together. in Sagittarius. Jupiter is at home in Sagittarius.
Yeah.
It's a very, very lucky place to be.
Yes.
But
Dylan's Jupiter's in Sagittarius.
yeah, see, it's a
right? No, it's
no.
Aries. We were talking about that a
Yes.
few days ago. Never mind. Ignore me.
But it's all in his 11th house. Doesn't that not make sense to you? Like, how is he so lucky in the house of fucking community and friendships when
He's not a
doesn't
social
have
person.
any?
He doesn't want any. It's not that he doesn't have any. He doesn't want it.
That's true. That combination of the moon and Jupiter in the 11th house, those people are supposed to be wealthy. And I looked at him, I'm like, motherfucker, you don't want to be wealthy? Get some goddamn friends so they can give us some money.
I know, he has to make connections.
That's what
yeah.
And I'm like, I've got something you're not gonna want to hear because I know you don't want friends, but
funny.
It's so crazy. Every single time I look at his chart, I'm like, either your birth time is wrong or you are not going in the direction you're supposed to in astrology. And it's also fucking weird because he has so many placements in his chart that points at him being a very spiritual, that type of person. And I'm like, you're doing none of this. Like, you don't even want to, like, you feel obligated to listen to me when I talk to astrology.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, but this is like, I've never seen somebody so much the opposite of what their chart is. And at this point, he's going through a Saturn return right now. I'm at this point waiting until his Saturn return is done to see if his whole life perspective gets completely turned around, because mine did.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people's perspective on life gets flipped around after their Saturn return.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. Your Saturn return is hard.
Mm-hmm. You said his chart points him in the direction of being a spiritual person, and he's not. But what if that's why you're in his life?
I thought about that because when your 11th house is exactly opposite of your 5th house. Your 5th house is children.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have the moon in your 11th house, your partner kind of affects your children. If you want children or not. It depends on the partner. And what the partner wants, because the 11th house is about community. So the moon there is definitely a little bit of my influence in him, which I think is very odd because he was going through his Jupiter return when I met him, because he was 23 and a half. So he would have been just at the end of his Jupiter return.
Okay.
Finally getting that luck of a direction he wanted to go in for 11th house relationships, community, stuff like that. It's not the house of relationships. The house of relationships is your 7th house.
Yeah.
No matter what. But the 11th house is relationships on a bigger scale. So what did I bring in? I brought in a whole other family.
Right.
It's a bigger scale. It's not just me and him. It's what I brought to him.
It's a whole family. Yeah.
All that stuff is insane to me. And when I met him, he was a very spiritual person. And I think the unfortunate stuff that hit him in life kind of
bogged him down in a way.
Yeah, to where he's like discouraged.
Yeah.
But I think later on he'll kind of bounce back into spirituality again. And you know what?
Because he was the one that encouraged you to pursue your spirituality.
And he did, because he said he believed in it too. So I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable to be more open about it, I guess. And that's
And you being open about your spirituality got me into mine with Dylan's help. So,
which I'm glad. And now look at us.
I know. Now we're annoying both of our husbands with our spiritual bullshit.
We're just like that clip of Paul Rudd. Look at us. Look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, my husband still eggs mine on because he found a whole armoire up in the barn and washed it, sanded it, and stained it to match my altar table, and like let me organize it and everything. And he's amazing. And when we got our new desk for the podcasting room, he's like, I just imagine your side with all your crystals and everything, and just all like decorated with all your rocks. And I'm like, you're so sweet. I love you so much.
Well,
He's a big supporter.
He would be too, because your sun sign is the same as his rising sign.
Yeah.
So he looks to you as, like, he's drawn to you.
Yeah.
You know? And then I'm looking up his chart right now, because if I remember right, his Venus is in Virgo.
Yes.
Which is all about like where he's gonna find beauty.
Mm-hmm.
But also, anything with Virgo is of service to people. So you, being his wife, which is represented by Venus, how is he going to treat you? He's going to be of service to you.
Oh, I got a little servant. Sorry.
That's my husband too. That's how he treats me.
Yeah.
And my Leo Venus fucking loves that.
That's a very nice balance.
It's good for me.
That's a very nice attraction right there.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Like, here is my Leo Venus being like, I want to be the only person in the world for him. And I want him to blah, blah, blah. And then there he goes, like, oh, I'm going to service you in every way you need. And I'm like, perfect. That's exactly what I need.
Perfect.
Oh, and his 7th house is ruled by Gemini. So he's
villains.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there's your marriage and how he reacts towards your marriage. I mean, he's got no planets there.
Yeah.
But that's what rules 7th house for him is Gemini. And I mean, Gemini is 2 sides of a coin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's 7th house in relationships? That's 2 parts to a being.
Yeah.
That's your relationship. That's a marriage. 2 parts to one being. The marriage being the being. Being the beanie. Bing. Binga binga bing.
Indi beninging. Indi beninging.
Oh God.
It's an Indian guy trying to say in the
can't even say it.
In the beginning. And he just says Indi beninging. Actually.
In the beginning.
In the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the listen properly. In the beginning. Yeah. In the beginning. In the beginning. In the beginning.
Just doesn't end. Oh my gosh, we're gonna link this video below this episode. Seriously, there's no remix of that. Ah, somebody needs to make that. Somebody needs to make that and send that to us.
It gets me every fucking time. English is my first and only language.
Yeah,
and I struggle with it on a daily basis.
I struggle with the U.S. slang that changes every week.
That's mid. I can't. Like, Riz caught me off guard. I mean, it makes sense. It's a lot shorter of a way of saying charismatic, and it makes sense. But it came out of fucking nowhere and had no explanation. And I was like, what the fuck is Riz? Rizzo?
I was gonna say, to me, Riz
we go
is
together.
Yep.
Like shaka laka 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 bang da bang da bop.
Shaka laka laka. Shaka laka.
You sound like tap shoes. Were you quoting something?
Nope.
Okay.
No, but here's my Michael Scott.
I didn't know my Irishman came out. I don't know if I'm Irish. I've been told I'm Irish, but I don't know how true that is. Because my dad told
thinks
me
you're Irish.
Yeah.
You thought about it.
Dude, my skin thinks I'm Irish, and my hair and eyes are like, no, you're German. I don't know what I am. I really want to take a DNA test.
Your skin says I'm Irish, but your hair and eyes say 9.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Did you have any more astrology stuff you wanted to talk about? We really derailed this train. This train is on fire and like 40 miles away from the railroad tracks.
Astro train is gone. There's a lot of people that don't follow astrology, and you don't have to. Whatever works for you is fine.
Right.
That's why I follow astrology, because I want to be aware.
Yeah,
that's why I
started astrology. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be aware of how I am. I want to be aware of how I could potentially act towards this person or that person,
Yep.
how I could potentially be in a relationship or in a marriage. And that's how I learned about myself. That's how I learned about other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I peg people as this or that. It's somebody tells me what their zodiac sign is, and then I instantly start studying them to see, okay, does that line up with your sun sign? Does that line up with your sun sign?
I
What
do
are you?
that.
Does this? Yeah,
I do that
it's
less so
fucking
with
fun
people's
for
sun
me.
signs. I do it more so I ask my coworkers, I'm like, "Are you into astrology?" And if they say yes, I'm like, "Do you know what your big 3 are?" And most of the time people are now more aware of what their big 3 placements
Yeah.
are. And then I start like analyzing them based on their moon and rising sign. Like I could care less about your sun sign because it doesn't affect how your sun sign is not going to affect how you interact with me.
It's not going to, especially if they're in your age group,
Right.
because the sun will just kind of be like that ego in the background that's like, okay, wait, I didn't like that. I
Yeah.
didn't like that you said that. And you're, for people your age, you're interacting with the rising sign.
Yeah.
It's heavy at that point. There's still like bits and pieces of your sun sign that are like, okay, wait, I'm gonna veto that and I'm gonna step in.
Yeah.
But it's very heavy your rising sign for a while. And I've even started to notice now that I'm like 31 on the back end of my first Saturn retrograde,
Mm-hmm.
that my rising has receded a little bit because I'm not rising up anymore. I'm not growing up. I'm grown. And now I'm just growing in certain directions.
Right.
But I am officially no longer an adolescent person that has to grow up in the world.
Right.
And I talked about this. I'm part of like a spiritual book club, I guess.
Okay.
And we're talking about self-help, and there's this book that we're reading that I really enjoy. It's all about the self and how your mind perceives things. It's very, very interesting. I could probably link it. It's called The Untethered Soul. And I was thinking about how much as you're growing up, you seem to try on outfits.
Mm-hmm.
You try on this person's outfit. It's like, oh, hey, I like that stuff. I'm gonna try that on. And then you release what you don't like, and then you keep the garments on of what you want to be for yourself. And then over time you just accumulate all this whole costume and this persona. And that's what your rising sign kind of does.
Yeah.
It puts on all these different clothes to be this person. And then you hit like your first Saturn return, and then you kind of turn around and realize, I don't know what I am anymore.
Yeah.
So then you have to take all of that off and almost build yourself over again in a more authentic way.
Okay.
And that's where your sun sign takes more precedence.
Gotcha.
That's a very heavy way of looking at that, but and that really does happen.
Yeah.
You're testing the waters as you're growing up. You don't know what you want. You don't know where you're going. You just want to, I like this, and this is what I'm into right now. I'm going to test this out and see if this works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Either it does or it doesn't. And you keep going with it or leave it behind and move on to something else. And I realized that I have done that specifically, and I'm like, wow, I have gone through so much self-development in the past, like literally since my mom passed away. And I hate how much that triggered me to grow, because I don't like the fact that she had to go for me to do that.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate admitting that to myself. I hate thinking about that. But
it's a very hard truth.
It is. And when you look back at the North Node, same with like my dad. Like,
yeah,
he has to find himself without somebody in order to grow. And I hate it. And that's why I want to look at my mom's chart so bad, because, or I need to know what her houses are. Because I really want to see if it shows if she has a shorter lifespan. I need to see that.
Yeah.
I think for like my own acceptance, I guess, I just need something else.
It would kind of make you feel a little better in a way.
Make me feel like it was inevitable no matter what.
Yeah.
Because still in my head,
it wasn't preventable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because in my head right now, it was preventable.
That's how Dylan sees it too.
Yeah. And it was a complete accident and it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
No deaths should happen. In a perfect world, there would be no deaths.
Yeah.
But sometimes people just need to go when it's their time. You don't like saying that when it's somebody close to you.
Yeah.
It's so hard. But that's the only thing you can say because you can't change it. They're gone.
I was talking to my grandma this morning about recently I've been really missing my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of increased since everything with my dad happened over the summer, because I feel like there are pieces missing to this puzzle that I'm not seeing that nobody would be able to give me except for my grandpa, because he's my biological he's my dad's biological father, not my dad's stepmom.
Yeah.
So like my dad's stepmom has obviously been there for most of his life because he was like 8 when my grandma and grandpa divorced, if I'm remembering the timeline right. And then so Lori, I think my grandma said that she's been in my dad's life for like 27 years or something, but she wouldn't be able to give me answers and comfort and insight like my grandpa could. There's also been a lot of things said by my father that I don't know if it's the truth or not, because he's the only one saying those things and everybody else is saying that he's lying.
Yeah.
And my dad is known to lie.
Yeah. He's
and
lied
I don't
to you
care if he
several
hears
times.
this. I really don't care. He probably
doubt
wouldn't
he's
listen
listening.
to this, but I don't give a shit. I just don't know. And I really should ask my grandma if she knows what time my grandpa was born so I can pull his birth chart. I really want to
I
know.
wonder if she would have a birth certificate. But even then, I don't even know what time.
Right.
You can almost tell what time they were born by when they seem the most vivacious and awake. When the fuck does my brain wake up? About 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when I was born. I was born at like what, 3:59 or 3:40, something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the afternoon. That's why I'm not a fucking morning person.
I can't relate to that. I'm a midday person for sure, but I was born at 9 o'clock at night.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, I will go if I'm not trying to spend time with Dylan and I just want to go to bed. I would go to bed at 10 o'clock at night. But my brain starts working probably around 11 or noon, and then I'm good to go until probably 6 o'clock, and that's when my brain starts bogging down.
If there were no time restraints and society didn't tell you when you should and shouldn't sleep, do you think you'd be like that?
Yes.
Really?
Because I don't really put myself on a schedule. I just kind of follow what my body needs unless I have to go to work.
Yeah, but you spent most of your life so far in school
that's true.
telling you to wake up in the morning and go to bed at night. That's what's so hard for a lot of people, is that some of us are wired to be awake half the night. And that's why we struggle a lot during the day, because that's not when we're supposed to be awake.
Yeah.
But society tells us we have to. And that's just what I believe.
Yeah.
Y'all can
you're
believe
right.
whatever you want.
I think so too. I think that's another topic for another.
But as of right now, Jupiter just went into retrograde, and here's a couple things you can do during the Jupiter retrograde that will help you through it and also help you grow from it. So Jupiter is currently in retrograde. It lasts about 4 months. So in through December is where Jupiter is going to be retrograding. And Jupiter retrogrades every 13 months. So great things to do during the Jupiter retrograde is reining back on like actively pursuing goals, and start to think about your whys and why you want to do things and how things are going to help you, how your goals are going to help you in life, and how you are going to get to them. Start thinking about what your philosophies are on life. Journal them, write them down. Keep track of these little things. That always helps out during Jupiter retrograde. Thinking about like what Jupiter retrograde looks like, it's like you're coming back into yourself, which to me, a lot of that is like winter energy, where you're just hiding in and waiting to come out into the world. That is what Jupiter retrograde is for your philosophies, for your expansion, for your growth. Kind of just hold into yourself a little bit, go over things, think about where you truly want to be in life, where you truly want to go, and wait for, I guess, the metaphorical spring of Jupiter going back, or Jupiter going direct again, in order to come back out and show yourself again. I don't know. I think of like a quiet library, like a big library where you're just kind of studying, with books all around, just, philosophy, spirituality, knowledge, higher knowledge. And it's relevant because school just started. So back into higher knowledge is, the fall semester for college and university, things like that. For me, Hogwarts Great Hall vibes. It's going back to school, to Hogwarts.
That's funny.
Learning, just making plans where you want to go. That's a big thing.
No, I think definitely we need to start getting back into shadow work, and
for sure,
because we have a shadow work group chat with one of our other friends that's spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
and we, again, around the same time we fell out of the podcast is when we fell out of that. But also, I stopped messaging in there because my old iPhone wasn't updated enough to support
issues.
Messenger, so I couldn't message on it anyways, and I almost never use Facebook on my computer.
Yeah.
But definitely this would be a good time to do some shadow work and self-reflect, because self-reflecting can also like take that opportunity, like Jamie said, to think about your goals and what you want, write it down, manifest it. This is also a good opportunity as we're going into fall season to do some simmer pots if that's something that you're into. Write out your goals on a bay leaf and put them in a simmer pot. You can burn them and release them into the wind. Like, bay leaves are incredibly powerful. I use them a lot. Dylan found one of my old ones.
Yeah, they're luck.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Jupiter is too.
Yeah.
Jupiter is the luck planet. So where Jupiter is in your chart, that's where you're going to find some of your luck that is supposed to come to you. Like, for instance, Jupiter for me is in Virgo in my 10th house. So in my 10th house, I find being able to move around in a career, like I find small bouts of luck all throughout that, to the point where I am kind of lazy about my career because I've been so lucky with some things that I'm just like, I don't need to try so hard because I find luck here and there with it, so I can just get by, which is no way to live. I don't advise being lazy with that stuff, but that's what that's done to me. And I mean, you can have Jupiter in your second house of just money coming to, Jupiter in your 8th house, somebody else's money coming to you. That's lucky.
My Jupiter is in Gemini in my 11th house, so I don't know what that means for me. But
I need to dissect that a little more because you've told me that before, and it's stopped me in my tracks, like going through all the files in my head.
Like I said earlier, my birth chart is like a mystery to me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it, like Alex's, is kind of contradictory.
Yeah.
Or just doesn't make sense. I'm like, why are you like that? Why am I the way I am?
Jupiter, I believe Jupiter in your 11th house indicates.
Didn't you say Alex's was also in his 11th house?
Yeah.
Okay.
It can mean two things. Jupiter in your 11th house, because 11th house is part of the circle of siblings too.
Oh.
So Jupiter in 11th house can mean you are the eldest sibling.
Yeah.
Or it can indicate that you have a wealthy older brother.
I am the older wealthy brother. That's not
there
tongue
you
twister.
Go. There you go. And I don't. Maybe we can dive into siblings in the chart in another episode because I'm heavily looking into that with my own children and how their dynamic is going to be
with their siblings.
Yes. As far as Jupiter in retrograde and where Jupiter is, that's where you're going to feel Jupiter's effects. You look at look at where Jupiter currently is in your chart and not where it was at the time of birth, because that is where Jupiter is going to affect you. So, and that would be a transit. Transits are where planets are currently in the sky right now. And how that affects your birth chart. I recommend astro.com. It's free. The only issue is that it doesn't have an app. So you still have to go to a web browser to see it, but it is free. There are other things in it that you have to pay for, but in order to get your birth chart, that's free. Your login is free. Jupiter retrograde is heralding the time for deep spiritual introspect, because that's what Jupiter rules. So, I mean, like, you can set whatever goals you want, especially since it's a new moon, but your Jupiter stuff influenced by Jupiter is going to be spiritual. It's going to be philosophy, psychology, like how your brain works, like where you're going with things like that. Connect with your inner truth. Start maybe making goals towards your North Node where you're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
And that's hard. No matter what your North Node is, it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
My North Node is in Capricorn, and I am already finding it.
Your North Node is in Capricorn. My North Node is in Cancer.
Oh yeah, we're two different people.
Which I was thinking about when you were talking about North Nodes and Aries, is I find it funny that my South Node is in Capricorn, and I had such a strong relationship to my father growing up, and I'm going into my North Node Cancer of being a mom myself, and I had to let go of my father to be the mother I need to be. So that's what went through my brain. I don't know if that's an accurate connection, but that's kind of where I went with that. Because Capricorn represents father.
Yeah. I also have something kind of similar to that. I've always been a home person.
Yeah.
My home is important to me because my South Node is in Cancer.
Yeah.
But my moon, and your moon represents your mother, your relationship with your mother. So my moon is in the 5th house, which is childhood and nostalgia. Guess what I have to let go of in order to pursue my North Node? I have to let go of South Node Cancer stuff, which would be my mother and my childhood. And I find that just so
disheartening.
Yes. And I hate it, but it was so, when I came across that and really looked into that, I was like, oh, there's another thing that is proving to me that everything does happen for a reason.
Mom
as much as you
all the time.
fucking hate it. Yep. And she always used to say that everything happens for a reason. And she always knew too. She always knew she was going to go sooner than everybody else.
We just weren't prepared for that.
No, because it wasn't the ideal time, and it always, I hated it.
It wasn't what we thought it would be with her either.
Yeah.
Like, that was the last thing that was
that wasn't her health issue. No. She had a completely separate health issue that we all thought was going to be
It was not her health problems that got her. It was an outside thing that worsened it.
Yeah. And it just makes me so upset because she is a very much a person that cares about the beauty of children and how sacred children are in the world, how innocent and important they are, and how loving them so much is the most important thing you can do as an adult to raise children and help them grow in the world. And the fact that she is gone now and she has all these grandkids now that she can't be a grandparent to, it's fucking enough to make me just start bawling right now.
Yeah.
And we need to end this episode before I do.
I'm this close.
I can see you over there. I'm like, oh, your glasses are getting steamy. I hate it.
But yeah, we'll link different things in the description, so make sure you check that out.
Yeah, we're gonna have lots of resources for you guys. It's not just gonna be our word for it. We'll link you to some different things to kind of help you in your own research, since spirituality, maybe even astrology, will be a focus of your studies for the next few months and growth. We invite you to that. That's certainly what I'm going to be doing. I have to finish my certificate for astrology, which I've been neglecting because it's been summertime and I haven't wanted to be on the computer.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's time for back to school, Jamie.
Yeah.
Good timing. Real quick, though, before we do go, you mentioned the new moon. This is releasing on the day of the new moon in Virgo. What would be some good rituals to do for Virgo moon, would you say? That way we can give them some ideas.
Virgo.
If you are into doing rituals. If you're not, that's fine.
I would say clean up your space. Messy space is a messy head, and Virgo does not like to have either. So get your ducks in a row, organize, clean. I mean, that's the overall idea for Virgo season
Yeah.
anyways. And plus, it's Virgo is right before a seasonal change.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want to do before a seasonal change? You want to start kind of resetting your life
Yeah.
for the next season. So it's fall time. Soon after fall time, it's going right into holiday season. Where we're located in the world,
Mm-hmm.
in the northern hemisphere. So a lot of stuff is happening. School starts. A lot of people have sports for their kids, sports for themselves. I just as soon as school starts, it's almost like an uphill climb of just stuff after
Yeah.
stuff. Your weekends are it's football season, everyone's going to the games, there's college games, just
Yeah.
everything. It's all back to back and it can get very, very messy. So it's a very good idea to start right now, cleaning your stuff out, organize as much as you can, even
Put
get
stuff in
rid
a
of stuff.
planner.
Oh yeah.
Get a planner, organize all of your events, write
Mhm.
stuff down, make sure that you're organized with your events. That way you can properly plan cleaning your space.
Yep. Get rid of stuff too.
Mm.
Virgo is meticulous. And Virgo also very much likes minimalism because it's less stressful. And thinking about the holiday season really isn't that far away. And you're going to accumulate a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone does. So making space for all that stuff to come in will make your future less problematic and less chaotic. And that is also a thing that Virgo does. Virgo
Mm-hmm.
likes to prepare for the future.
Yeah.
Prepare for what's coming. So it's good to keep stuff like that in mind. I very much like Virgo energy. Not a lot of people do, but I do.
I do.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it so much I married it. So
My best friend is a Virgo.
there you
She
go.
also has a Cancer moon, so it works out very well.
Yeah, that's you guys have an understanding about emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and that's very nice to have in a friend. Is when you guys can actually understand your emotions together.
That's why we turn to each other a lot when we're struggling with issues.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing for the new moon is when you are doing your rituals, I would say put something on in the background, not like music, or I don't mean as background sound, but like we were talking about the other day, do a ritual according to your moon sign. So like if your moon sign is a fire sign, burn incense or a candle.
Mm-hmm.
If your moon sign is a water sign, take a bath, put on a simmer pot. I would say if your moon sign is an air sign, open up the windows and put up some wind chimes for like a nice sound cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an earth moon sign,
Nature
go
walks.
outside, ground yourself, like lay on the ground and just bask in the sun, go for a walk barefoot, anything outside on the ground to ground yourself, I would say.
Yeah. Your moon sign gets affected so much, and to ground it where it wants to be grounded, or to reset it where it needs to be reset, that'll help you a lot. I'm a fire moon. I mean, so I like everything else, but what really helps me get back to my own center is actual flame. So a fire pit, a bonfire, that's great. That's good for if you're an earth sign with a fire moon or vice versa.
Oh, that makes
Being
sense.
outside, sitting in the yard, so bonfire, little campfire, what have you. But candles, I'm a person for candles. I have to have actual flames around me.
I used to lay outside in the rain all the time when I was a kid. And it would actually really help center me a lot, and I would feel so relaxed afterwards. And now I know why.
Yeah. It's helpful to do things like that. And sometimes we get so caught up in life that we're like, oh, that stuff is so inconvenient to do because
it's so
of this
helpful,
and that.
though. You'll feel so much better, I
It
promise.
it really is worth it though. Like my eldest, he's got a Taurus moon, and I can literally watch him lose his sense when he doesn't get outside.
Yeah.
So like, and sometimes I have to force him. Get outside, buddy. and then he'll go outside for an hour, he'll come back in. It's like he's a different person.
Yeah.
So that stuff really does affect you. And no matter what sign your moon sign is, you're going to need some water.
Yeah.
Because
hydrate yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will let you guys go. Have an amazing new moon. Think about those rituals. Do your shadow work. Write down your goals. Declutter your space.
Mm-hmm.
We hope that we were able to give you some insight about the retrogrades and how you can navigate them safely, appropriately.
Yeah, or at least a couple of the retrogrades.
Yeah.
We all know Mercury, but it's the other planets do affect us too, and those ones last a lot longer. So it's good to keep that in mind.
Retrograde's only there for like 2 weeks. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, the other ones
In
are definitely
hindsight.
last a lot longer.
Yeah.
So it's good to know how to work with those to benefit yourself, so we can all grow in a better direction and be better people. That's our goal in life. That's what everyone's goal in life should be, is to grow and be a better person.
Yes,
so
that's why we're here.
Yeah. So with that, do your homework, learn what works for you, learn what helps you reset yourself, and we'll talk at you next time.
Talk at